Hello, this is Carolyn with Online. This is Carolyn Webb with Online or Web-based Training. For the handouts for this program, you're going to have two. You have a workbook, and as you can see here, it's 20 minutes long to finish it. And you also have a course content which you can take home and study. The workbook needs to be turned back in after this training, and it will be graded and turned back into the next class period. Now these are what's in each of these packets. There's 4 lessons in our objectives. Lesson 1, what is online training? We're going to define it, we're going to watch videos and examples, and we're going to show the advantages and disadvantages. Now lesson 2 is about preparing for the online or web-based training by finding companies' needs, training needs, and the presenter's needs. Lesson 3 is creating and delivering the online or web-based training. First we're going to talk about how to create it and then how to deliver it. And then we're going to have a little catch-up time. Lesson 4, post procedure for online and web-based training. Now that is to ensure if the company's needs were met, if the trainees' needs were met, and if your needs were met, or if you did well. We're going to find out why and how. What is online or web-based training? Technology has created the ability to teach what we know to others via the internet. Teachers and students are separated by space or time, or both, and teachers provide course content through the use of methods such as course management applications, multimedia resources, the internet, and video conferencing. Online training is used by various companies to inform and educate their employees. And this is where IO psychologists come in. Now this is a website I ran across, and this helps teach you more about online training, and also it gives you software to help build an online training, which is very important in online training. This is lynda.com. There are many different types of online training. There's online instructional courses, there are webcasts from state and national experts, online seminars, commonly known as webinars. Now here's an example of a webinar.
Hey folks, it's Kobe with KobeWright.com, and I'd like to welcome you back to another weekly live training session. So before we start, I just want to make sure that everyone can hear me, you can see the screen okay, etc., etc. If you can hear me, put a Y in the box. If not, obviously you won't put anything and I'll know that you can't hear me. So, alright. Got some yeses and some Y's. Awesome. So, get that out of the way. I don't have the screen paused. Everything's ready to roll. Alright. Cool. So, tonight we're going to talk about recruiting affiliates, and then we're going to take some questions from you folks in the audience. First, I just need to point out the text down here at the bottom of the screen, and that is for to join the SMS list to get instant notification of all the training sessions, and of course when the replays are posted. And the replays are mobile friendly, so you can watch them on your mobile device. Simply text the word webinar, which is WEBINAR, to the phone number here on the screen, which is 615-326-1155.
This is a live training session, and I like how he does this. He doesn't really have a specific set of objectives, just one, which is recruiting affiliates, and then after that it's just answering questions from his audience, his well-following audience. And he's established a really good professional relationship, and this is a very smart way to go for online training. Now we're going to go to the advantages and disadvantages of online training. The advantages are convenience, flexibility, it's faster, affordable, and it also has direct access to many other resources. And of course there's a lot of other advantages. Now some disadvantages: loss of motivation, technical difficulties, which I've experienced several occasions, constant updates, some people lack basic skills, and lack of personal contact, which with this video, this helps usually with personal contact a little bit, but you still are missing direct contact, which is pretty important. And of course there are many other disadvantages as well. Advantages and disadvantages differ depending on situations and the KSAO, which I believe all of you should know: knowledge, skills, ability, and other, which is personality and motivational levels and stuff like that. That is all for lesson 1. Lesson 2, preparation for the online or web-based training. Now your goal here is to find company's needs, trainees' needs, and your own needs or the presenter's needs. Now why is it important to find the company's needs? Well, first of all, they're paying you. Also, they are the reason for doing the training, and their cooperation is vital so you can create the content. And also, you are creating a name for yourself. Establishing a professional relationship with the company is beneficial for everyone. Now, how is this done? You can do this with email, meetings, phone, Skype. There's many different ways to get the information. Now, here's an example for this program of finding the company's needs. Everybody got one. This is the individual training, the form grade, and it's got all that information that the company, or in this case the teacher, needed. Now just remember, whenever you are getting this kind of information, to be businesslike or professional, polite, no curse words, etc. Also, here is an example of a email that you could send, something like this. It's basically inviting them out for lunch, and in a nice professional manner, make it your treat or something, and tell them what you need. Here I need a job description, the company's goals, the company's needs, and of course, etc. It just depends on what kind of training program. Or if you're doing it for a school, you'd want to get in contact with the board and find out their requirements. Now, why is finding trainees' needs important? To make sure that everyone has a chance to get on the same level mentally. This makes you look good and helps establish a mentor relationship with the trainees, and it can be beneficial in the future too. To make your training program more effective for the trainees and company and increase employee job satisfaction. Now, how is this done? This is tricky and not everyone will respond, but it's worth a try for the ones who really want to learn the subject. Now you can do this same way: email, Skype, Facebook, meetings. Of course, meetings can get really expensive if it's a lunch every time, especially if you're trainees too. I would just keep that with the management. I did a survey of a few class students to get their internet experience and their online training program knowledge. I only picked a few, and this isn't very detailed, but it still gives me an idea of where I should start. So basically I asked internet experience, and this is what I got. So, you know, it's pretty good usually. There's one or two that don't have a whole lot of internet experience. And then we have the online training program knowledge, and that's where everybody gets pretty low. There's 2 out of 6 that actually knew anything at all about it. And this tells me that I need to focus on online training and not so much the basic internet stuff. Or maybe have a cheat sheet for the ones who need that extra information. And that's why it's helpful to get this kind of information. And again, it's optional. Now, finding the presenter's needs. Why is this important? Finding everything you need with research and planning for your particular subject to understand the material is smart. Know all the technology you will be using and make sure it all works. It's another big one, and you get things happen that you can't help, but you can try your hardest to make sure that everything works if you can. And also make sure there are no time or scheduling conflicts if necessary. Now, some training programs, this does not apply, and again, it just depends on what kind of training program you do for a school, for a company, for yourself. Now, how is this done? I recommend making notes, practice and reviewing, more research, ask yourself, ask others, etc. Now, that is all for Lesson 2, the preparation of online training. Is there any questions? And again, the answer is no, because we are recording. Lesson 3, creating and delivering the online or web-based training. Creating the online training. Online training programs are mainly text-based, using HTML, PowerPoint, or PDF documents. Use all the feedback gathered to create the content and get proper software. This is coming from the lesson number 2, where you're preparing for the online. All that feedback that you gathered from the company and the employees or the students or trainees, you're going to use to make the content. Research all your options to help make an up-to-date online training program. Again, it just depends on what training you're doing or what it's for, as to what software you're going to use and what options you're going to take. Organize your content, highlighting key points so it is easy to understand. That's very important in any kind of presentation. Even more so on online, because it can get confusing. Now, here's a video.
Welcome to ProProf's Training Maker, the world's simplest way to create an online course or training. With Training Maker, you can create online courses or training using your existing documents, presentations, PDFs, videos, or even web-based information such as web links or YouTube videos. Plus, all uploads are converted to a web and mobile-friendly format that requires no software installations for your users. For example, your users can watch and interact with a PowerPoint presentation even if they don't have PowerPoint installed on their computer. Let's review a sample course. With ProProf's Training Maker, you can make courses that offer employee training or a course for your classroom, whether it's college, professional classes, or K through 12. Let's take a look at the first sample course on.
Alright, and as you can see from this video, there are many different types of training and options for training. So just basically do your research when doing this. Also, you want to consider the layout when you're creating your program. Now, I started with title and information, and here those were, if you guys remember. I talked about the handouts, and then I went to the objectives, and here's my objectives, which we've already been through. And now here's the content, and as you see, I had 4 different lessons, so here they are, with my key points highlighted. And then I end up with the summary, and here I added the resource to the summary. I thought that'd be kind of cool. And that was my layout for this training program, just to give you guys an example. Now, delivering the training. Content is delivered via the internet, audio or videotape, satellite TV, and CD-ROM. It can be self-paced and can include media in the form of text, image, animation, streaming video, and audio. A few channels.
The trainer can be present or not present. The trainer can also make it mobile too. Research and find options that suit your needs.
And you want to make sure your trainees are technically prepared for the training. And here is a video on delivering.
Hi, this is me, My name is Claudia Dornbush, and for the past 10 years, I have been involved in helping organizations around the globe design and develop their virtual classroom programs. I am here to share with you some best practices on how to use the most common functionalities of synchronous software platforms for the benefit of creating engaging interactions that will enhance participant learning and retention. The virtual classroom, a synchronous form of e-learning, has been embraced by many organizations in their attempt to promote workforce learning while trying to cut travel time and costs associated with face-to-face instructor-led training. However, many of those responsible for creating and implementing the virtual classroom are new to this form of multimedia learning and as such fall into the trap of assuming that synchronous classrooms are simply recreations of traditional classroom settings. Let me clearly point out that they are not. Why? Because training in a virtual classroom eliminates the body language social cues that we take for granted in face-to-face instructor-led training sessions. You, as the facilitator, don't have the subtle nuances to let you know when users are disengaged. In other words, you have no way of knowing if while you are covering critical content, the participants are texting on their Blackberries, checking emails, or simply catching some Z's. So how do we make sure participants are engaged, paying attention, and actually retaining the materials that we are covering? Planning and facilitating frequent and relevant interactions is probably the single most important thing you can do to create effective virtual classroom sessions.
And that was a video on how to make an effective delivery for training. Post procedure for online or web-based training is about finding the company's needs were met, finding out if the trainees' needs were met, and if the trainer's or presenter's needs were met. Now, why would we find out if the company's needs were met? To establish a professional relationship and show them where their money was well spent. To communicate easier on what other areas need attending to. Add-on service. Being diligent will help you get referred to other companies. Now, this is really important if you want to make good money, Now, how is this done? Meeting and conversations, email, Skype, phone, etc. Basically, you're going to find out if everything was up to standards and go and have a meeting with them and see if the trainees have learned and what their feedback is. Now, why will we find out if the trainees' needs were met? To keep the mentor relationship for future training. To ensure the trainees are learning the KSAO available from the training program. To change the program for the better if change is needed. And with their feedback, that'll help you. You should always want to improve. Now, how is this done? With employees, meetings are okay and conversations, email, Skype, Facebook is pretty big to get in touch with younger generations, quizzes and surveys, etc. And to see if the trainer's needs were met. Why? To keep up with what works and what does not work, and adjust accordingly. To make sure all of the technical equipment is working correctly. Be sure to get paid what you are worth. The more experience equals more money. Now, how is this done? By reviewing your training program, reviewing trainees and companies' feedback, or you could ask or pay for reviews. Here's a good site to get reviews, and it's only $5. It's called Fiverr.com. It's a really cool website, and you could purchase a review or several reviews for $5. That is it for lesson 4. Now for the summary. Online training is The ability to teach what we know to others via the internet, where teachers and students are separated by space or time or both, and the teachers provides course contents through the use of methods such as course management applications, multimedia resources, video conferencing, and the internet. Online training is used by various companies to inform and educate their employees. There are advantages and disadvantages. Preparing for your online training by finding companies' needs, training needs, and your needs. This can be done in person, through the internet, or with paper. This leads us into creating and delivering the online training. When creating, remember to use all feedback gathered when preparing, research all options for content and layout, and highlight your key points. When delivering, be sure to find the best delivery method for your subject, decide to be present or not, and be sure trainees are technically prepared, and yourself. Post-procedure for online training is where companies is finding out if companies' needs were met, trainees' needs were met, and your needs were met. Again, this can be done in person, with paper, or over the internet. Here are the resources that I used for this program. Thank you for watching, and this concludes the online and web-based training program. Thank you.